Hey there, everybody. Now, I've been noticing a lot of videos on YouTube where they're comparing one style of martial arts to another style of martial arts. They're explaining why some style of martial arts just doesn't work. And Aikido is one of those arts that gets picked on a lot. Now, I know a little bit about Aikido. I've taken an introductory course to it. And the other thing I'm seeing on YouTube is like, say, an MMA fighter going around and defeating kung fu masters and tai chi masters. Now, I have a lot more experience with tai chi and kung fu, so I still want to share some of my insight on why I think arts like Aikido don't work. And it's not so much that it don't work, but that a lot of the people that train in arts like Aikido are finding that they don't have very much success with it outside of the classroom when it's being pressure tested, and especially when they're being matched up against an MMA fighter. And what you gotta understand is that arts like Aikido and Tai Chi, as well as Kung Fu, are arts that are a product of mastery. The reason these arts exist is because there have been people who have been training for a very, very long time, and so they are successful at the way that they fight, and so that way their art has become sought after, and people want to learn how to fight like that. Now, the problem with stuff like Aikido is you're going into a kind of training where you're missing out on a lot of what should be prerequisite training, or training that you could be doing alongside of your Aikido training, such as karate, judo, jiu-jitsu, as well as kendo. And the founder of Aikido has trained for a significant amount of time in all of these arts as well as others, and has trained in all of these arts long enough to become proficient at all of them, and has also become known as an undefeated champion in Japan. Well, this master wanted to go on to higher things, and when he heard about the Shaolin Temple, he made that trip to China and put in a significant amount of years training in Tai Chi. Now, by doing that, he probably has been exposed to a lot of other things that come with Shaolin, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's also seen some Fakwa. So when Osho came back to Japan from China, he came back with an iron fan like this. Okay, this has got to be one of the coolest weapons in all of Shaolin, right? Listen to that. Now, thing is when Osho got back to Japan and word got out, there was another undefeated champion, much like himself, who's had all these areas of training and very proficient. And the reason he wanted to fight Osho is because he's the one last person they need to fight to beat the ultimate champion, right? So, thing is Osho has reached a stage in his life where he really wasn't interested in competition anymore, and he really wanted to turn down the match, but the fighter wanted to go against him so much that he got the match. However, Osho was a little bit stubborn about it, and he did things like, making him wait outside a long time and all that. And so when he did come out to fight him, what he did was mostly just to exhaust him. And so as that fighter would come at him with all of his might and everything he had, Osho would just deflect those moves, and he would just toss this fighter around and make him have to get back to his feet repeatedly until he was so exhausted that all Osho had to do was step in with his iron Tai Chi fan, and whack him over the head and say, "I win." So word got out that Osho was able to make this look so easy, fighting such a proficient fighter. So the other fighter had a lot of the training that Osho did, but he didn't make that trip to China, right? So I think it's a very fun piece of Aikido history that he did make a trip to China and had an iron fan, so that's something you might want to be aware of. So similarly with Tai Chi, so I have to bring this up, especially since Osho went to China and learned some Tai Chi. You know, there had to be hard style before there was soft style. So in order for Tai Chi to exist, there had to be people doing Kung Fu for a very long time. And so, so as a Kung Fu student, you know, they have us learn Kung Fu. You need to learn a hard style so you can survive. You can learn it quicker and start using it right away. Whereas something like Tai Chi takes decades to learn. So Kung Fu, Taekwondo, Karate, you know, you can consider all these things to be your kickboxing training. So your years of training in kickboxing can be measured by the year, whereas your training in a soft style like Tai Chi would be measured by the decade. So ideally, you're young enough to train hardstyle, your body can manage it, makes you a better fighter faster so you can survive out there using your hardstyle training. But then as you get older, you may not want to move like that anymore. And your Tai Chi is getting better and better all the time. So as you're unable to move in a hard style fashion, then you can rely more on your Tai Chi because it's actually going to be there for you. So Tai Chi may take decades. You don't just you know, go to Tai Chi class and then fight an MMA fighter like that, right? So that's kind of a foolish mistake. So and the thing is other arts, like, so maybe Kung Fu's not working too good against these MMA fighters, and again, that's because they may be missing a fundamental piece of their training. Okay, so what we gotta take into account overall in martial arts is that wrestling is the most ancient martial art there is. So not only is it the most primitive martial art there is, it's also the most fundamental to martial arts. So you really need to have some wrestling training and some grappling training to make your Kung Fu better. In fact, in China, there's a thing called shuijiao, which the karate outfit is fashioned after. So that's how important wrestling is to the history of Asian martial arts. So you know, if you're on the path of Aikido, which isn't a bad idea, because if you think about what Aikido means, it means the achievement of universal harmony. So I think anybody should want that, right? So all you really need to do is keep doing your judo and jujitsu. That's providing your wrestling and your grappling, and doing your karate provides your kickboxing. And nowadays you might be doing the MMA style of kickboxing. So yeah, you just keep doing your MMA training the way you've been doing it. Now you might want to add some Tai Chi to that. That seems to be the magical ingredient there. And if you keep doing that long enough, you shall achieve Aiki, right? So the problem with the typical Aikido student is they're really missing the whole middle part. You really need to have your hard style training for very many years before your soft style training and your internal training is going to do you any good. So one way to look at that is if you're going right into Aikido or you're going right into Tai Chi, you know, that'd be like putting your second grader into algebra class and wondering why algebra don't work. So another way of looking at it is swordsmanship. Now in the Chinese martial arts, Tai Chi sword might be one of the highest levels of mastery. And so if you were to pick up a Tai Chi master's sword, it is such a delicate weapon that it would practically wilt like this in your hand. But then you see the Tai Chi master pick it up and it stands out straight like it's supposed to and does everything he asks it to. So if you're going into swordsmanship, you're going to need to start out with a wooden weapon. More than likely, you might even start out with a basic fighting stick before you see this. And then after you see this, you might graduate to a metal blade that's not even sharpened. So your first weapon's going to be more crude and cheap, and then as you become more advanced, your weapon should be a more finer and higher quality weapon. So, you know, it's really not a good idea to take the Tai Chi master sword and say, here, go work on this for a while. You really need to take all the steps it takes to get to that level of mastery. So if you really want to achieve a state of Aiki, you really just need to keep on doing your MMA training just the way you do. And if you do it long enough and you start to become more sensitive, you may actually take Tai Chi. Whether you do Tai Chi or not doesn't matter. Some of the confirmation we have is one of our higher level Brazilian jiu-jitsu teachers came to town and he said, you know, when you train your jiu-jitsu, you should train it just like you do your Tai Chi and your Aikido, you know? So really all you're doing is slowing it down and feeling the energy. Another colorful piece of insight is there's a Aikido instructor who's been training for so many years, has his third degree, and since has discovered Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, and now he's just wondering if he hasn't wasted all his years training in Aikido, because it just doesn't work, right? Well, he's been training in jiu-jitsu and MMA, kickboxing long enough that he's starting to find that with the right timing, his Aikido does work. And if you think about it, all Aikido really is advanced grappling. So the reason your Aikido and Tai Chi isn't working is you're probably missing out on your prerequisite training. And you shouldn't expect any of that stuff to happen overnight anyway. So you really need to do all of your hardstyle training while you're developing your Tai Chi and your Aikido. And later in life, you should get similar results as the Aikido founder Osho, perhaps, right? So hopefully that adds some valuable insight to our problem. And you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.